We start our meetings with a moment of silence and followed by the pledge. Time for reflection from all of us. And now our pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We start our meeting off today with our second public hearing for the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. We have Martha Robbins with us, Executive Director, Monroe County Redevelopment Authority. Welcome, Martha. Come on down.
Morning.
Good morning, Martha. We've missed you.
It's only been 2 weeks. All right. The purpose of today's public hearing is to obtain citizen views and comments on Monroe County's proposed use of $675,168 for the 2023 CDBG funds, including entitlement allocations. Based on the amount of funds to be received, Monroe County, along with East Stroudsburg and Stroudsburg Borough, propose to allocate CDBG funds as follows. For Monroe County, $329,208 will go to owner-occupied housing rehabilitation, $72,265 will go to program income for a total of $1,470. East Stroudsburg Borough, $129,302 will go to owner-occupied housing rehab, and $28,383 will go to program administration for a total of $157,685. Stroudsburg Borough, $95,129 will go to street and road improvements, which will go to Kramer Avenue, and $20,383 will go to program administration for a total of $116,010. On or about October 27th, 2023, Monroe County will submit an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for the federal fiscal year 2023 Community Development Block Grant. Following this public hearing, the County Commissioners will pass a resolution approving the 2023 CDBG application and the submission to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development.
Okay, fellow commissioners, any questions for Martha?
So Eastburg is putting theirs into rehab?
Yes.
Not the road.
Their project is to commit the funds as housing rehab at this point.
And they can always reassign it?
They can modify it, yes.
Public should have a chance to comment. That's the purpose.
Well, us too. Public comment at this time on Martha's report? Any questions?
I reviewed the video from last time, and one thing you were very succinct. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank
Yep.
Thank you.
You have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
I know, I will.
Thank you. Glad to. Okay, public comments, agenda items only. Okay, seeing none, moving forward. Old business. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of 9/20/23 Commissioners meeting? And that was number one. And number two, amend the motion 2023-199 to increase the computer capital purchase report an additional $24.32.
So moved. Second.
First and second, any discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, moving on, October's a very special month. Preempt everything with those words. And so we're going to break this down because we do have a person here, thank you, Lauren, for coming, to accept the Domestic Violence Award Awareness Month certificate. So we'll do that first, and then we'll do all three of the awards at the end. We were expecting somebody from the National Alliance for Mental Health who has not arrived at this point, but I will still read their proclamation as well, and then perhaps they'll be at the end. We can formally present that to them at that point. Okay, so Lauren, if you'd like to come up and I'll present this to you. We'll officially approve everything at the end. I'd like to introduce to you Lauren Peterson. She is the director of Safe Monroe. Okay. And whereas mental health is a key component of every individual's overall physical health, emotional well-being, and wrong life. That's right.
That's true.
They both have the same cover, right?
That's true. No. And actually, I put them in order as the way they were on the. I tried to come in and be organized.
So far, you're correct, but not.
We're close. Well, take two. Proclamation. Whereas the mission of Safe Monroe, formerly Women's Resources of Monroe County, is to provide a safe and caring environment that encourages healing and empowerment for anyone whose life has been impacted by domestic and sexual abuse, striving to engage the community through awareness, advocacy, and prevention. And whereas in fiscal year 22-2023, the agency has provided 3,035 hours of counseling and 775 hours of legal advocacy services to 803 individuals affected by domestic abuse. 80 adults and children were provided safety with domestic violence through 5,245 nights of shelter and over 1,750 hotline calls through their 24-hour crisis hotline were taken. And whereas we commend the valuable services of Safe Monroe, performs and urge the citizens of our community to do their part to end domestic violence and sexual assault in Monroe County. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners hereby designates the month of October 2023 Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Monroe County. Wait a minute or two. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, commissioners. As she mentioned, I am Lauren Peterson. I'm the executive director at now Safe Monroe, formerly Women's Resources. Just this past Monday, we unveiled our new identity as Safe Monroe. For 43 years, we've been providing free and confidential services to anyone who has been affected by domestic or sexual abuse in Monroe County. However, with women in our name, we realized that it can be misleading that we only provide services to women, or that domestic and sexual abuse only affect women, which is not the case. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men are affected by interpersonal, which includes both domestic and sexual abuse in the United States every year. We went through an 18-month rebranding process, engaging with the community, our supporters, survivors, volunteers, staff, and board members, and engaged with focus groups and surveys to gather some information about how we were perceived, both internally and externally, and what we can do differently. And the word we kept hearing was safe. They got me safe. They taught me how to stay safe. They provided me safety. Safe, safe, safe. And we're here in Monroe, so we put those two together to create Safe Monroe, where abuse ends and hope begins, which is our new tagline for the organization moving forward, which we want to put out to the community. This is our hope for the world, that we can provide safety and hope and healing for anyone who has been affected by domestic or sexual abuse. Thank you very much to the commissioners. I know you have one. Please do.
This is not meant to be abusive in any way, shape, or form. No, I just wondered, you've been doing this a long time. What do you see in the numbers and the types, things like that over the past 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think including in those 5 to 10 years being the COVID-19 pandemic, we've really seen an increase in the level of mental health needs and the increase in how trauma has affected people across all age ranges. We're seeing more and more people reaching out for help who have co-occurring disorders beyond the abuse that they suffer. So there's substance abuse, perhaps heavy mental health issues that they are also having to deal with at the same time. So the level of need has increased across all sectors as we're seeing. The number of people that are calling for services or reaching out has gone up, but we don't, as I say every time, we don't necessarily think that this is happening more. We're just doing a better job at teaching people about what it is and how to reach out for help.
Okay.
Sure.
May I ask you a question?
Yes,
Of
you may,
course.
sir.
I have friends out in western Pennsylvania,
Yes.
and they have been dealing with for years, and it's very serious, and it's nationwide. It's dealing with what you're dealing with. But the term is satanic ritual abuse. It's all over the place, but you'll never see it in media. It'll stop there. But just be aware, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Lauren.
The other,
And I have some information up here about our upcoming candlelit vigil and our new brochures for Safe Monroe.
thank you. Next on our agenda is the mental health week that we are, the first week in October. And let me have a proclamation for that. NAMI was going to be here. They're not able to be here, but I'd still like to have it publicly read in their honor. Whereas mental health is a key component of every individual's overall physical health and emotional well-being, and whereas mental health affects people of all ages, races, ethnicities, and income levels, and whereas only 50% of individuals with a serious form of mental illness seek treatment because of feelings of personal shame, social stigma, and discrimination, which prevent many with mental illness from seeking help. And whereas untreated mental illness leads to higher rates of emergency department visits, hospitalization, school dropouts, and suicides. And whereas greater public awareness about mental wellness can positively transform attitudes about and towards people with mental illness, making it easier for citizens to seek help. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Monroe County do hereby proclaim the first week of October 2023 as Mental Illness Awareness Week to raise public awareness and understanding of mental health, available resources within the community, and to reduce stigma faced by people with mental illness. Monroe County Board of Commissioners. And I believe Commissioner Moore, you're going to be going to see Patrick Weiss in his Eagle Scout coming up. So do I hear a motion to accept the proclamations and certificates for today?
So moved.
First and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving forward. Okay. Thank you all very much. New business. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 1, personnel, items A and B?
So moved. Second.
First and second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 2, electronic financial transactions ratified. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 2, items A, B, and C?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
First and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 3, travel authorizations, approving and ratifying. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 3, item A?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Questions, hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 4, Monroe County Area Agency on Aging. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 4, items A and B?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion, questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 5, Monroe County Children and Youth Services. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 5, items A and B?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to number 6, the Commissioner's Office. Do I hear a motion? Let me see. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 6, items A through N?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion or highlights? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Moving on. Number 7, Monroe County Redevelopment Authority. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 7, items A through D? Monroe County Redevelopment Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Do the first and second. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Number 8, Monroe County Transportation Authority. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 8, items A and B?
So moved.
Second.
First and second. Any discussion?
Just one. Greg, how long has Mr. Mazer?
Since the beginning of the authority,
Yeah.
like the 70s.
Oh.
He's the original board member.
So going on 40 years at this point, he has served.
As we do with all our board members, we thank them all. And that's what all the organizations are all about. Thank you. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 9, capital outlay purchases. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 9, item A?
So moved.
Second.
First, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And number 10. Motion to approve the actions listed in number 10, computer capital purchases, items A and B.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any miscellaneous?
I just make an announcement that yesterday we were informed that Moody's, the rating agency that rates all municipalities, counties, they come up with how reliable would they be in borrowing? They come up with a financial rating of entities to determine how good a risk they are if the county, in this case, goes out to borrow money. And we had been a AA 3 rating with a negative outlook. Now we're a AA 3 rating with just a regular outlook. So they removed the negative outlook from our rating, which will make it more feasible that when we borrow money in the future, if that needs to happen, probably the rate that we will pay will be less. So it's a good piece of good news for the county that our bonding agencies or our credit rating agencies have improved our rating. Negative outlook simply means that you were what you were, but there were risks involved in possibly slipping down to the next level below us. We are still considered high grade, and this puts us, if you will, half a notch above being high grade. So good news.
Anything else? Any public comment at this time? Yes. Want to say your name, please?
Teresa Bash. Do you want me to go up there or just stay here, or
Okay, you're fine there.
I'm fine here?
Yeah.
So, public comment today is about a grievance with Governor Shapiro having automatic registration at DMV. So this is actually a statement from a fellow Monroe County voter, and his name is Nicholas Paciano. So when speaking of elections, the Constitution provides that it is within the power of the state legislatures to make decisions. There is no reference, nor do the laws of the Commonwealth grant any such powers to the governor. Governor Shapiro has issued an executive order beyond the scope of his executive powers. And I'm going to interject a little bit because the reason I'm bringing this up is because the commissioners have the administrative responsibility for voter registration, so that's why I'm bringing it up here at this meeting. Okay, so back to next statement. This state's constitution provides an executive order can be issued only in cases of emergency. See sections 9 and 20. There is no authority to issue an executive order outside of an emergency. This applicable in his duty as a commander-in-chief of military forces. Creating automatic registration does not address any emergency, as the right to vote is not mandatory. Nor can those who hold office pad the voter rolls by making it a function without verification that those who vote are constitutionally qualified. The state already provides for voter registration. See Title 25, Section 1106. If that is to be changed, it is up to the legislature. Referring to the institution, laws, and operations of government, the Supreme Court has ruled that we are constrained to conclude that they do not mean to leave room for the play and action of purely personal and arbitrary power. See Yickwo versus Hopkins, 118 U.S. 356. The order violates tenets of Title 25, Article 7, Section 1501, PA Election Code. Therefore, Governor Shapiro has clearly demonstrated that he is exercising purely personal and arbitrary power, and it is not within the authority of this board to comply. Compliance by this board may be recognizable under 15 U.S.C. Section 241, in that, in quotations, two or more persons conspire to injure any person in the exercise or enjoyment of any right, in quotations. That right being to an election free of corrupt acts in which the people know that the votes are cast only by constitutionally qualified persons. And then Nick adds, if you would like to talk with him, he'd be happy to come down here and debate the issues and have your attorneys attend as well.
You want to comment on that at all?
Me?
Done?
Just have a couple of questions first. Are you advocating for Nick, or is you have the same position as Nick does?
I have the same position as Nick does, and many of us do in Monroe County.
Have you researched what he's written?
Have I researched what he's written?
What
I
he's
trust
written?
what
Have
he
you
wrote.
researched it?
I trust what he's written here, and also that I have looked at the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution and the Pennsylvania Constitution, and the governor has no right to arbitrarily demand that registration laws be changed.
When you used the term board, or he used the term board in what he wrote, what board was he referring to?
Excuse me?
When he used the term board in what he wrote, that you just read, what board was he referring to?
The election board.
Right.
The
So this is a
election
matter
board, but
for
it's
the-
also the responsibility of the commissioners to oversee voter registration and elections.
as the election board.
Board.
As the election board. This isn't the election board.
I understand that.
So I suggested if you
I will repeat it.
at the election board, because, and particularly this year, there's no identity or absolute identity between the commissioners and the election board. Two of these folks are running for office. They're not on the election board, as you know. So it would be sort of usurping the function of the election board if you did not bring this matter to them.
I will bring this back to them. Thank you.
That's kind
Thanks
of
for that
what
advice.
I wasn't sure. I was really going in that direction. So it's at 10:30 this morning.
Now, don't think that just because my opinion as the solicitor is that it's a matter for the election board, that they can do anything about it.
I understand, but it's also, we're looking to
As
start
you-
action locally, and there's other people that are going
I
to the
think
state.
to the extent that you and this fellow feel that way, certainly would have the right to proceed in court, bring an action against the governor, if that's what you wish to do. I don't know, maybe people have already done that. Because obviously there's been some reaction across the state to what he did. And we have no authority over the governor.
Okay, I think that's a good place to start at that, stop at that particular time. Any other public comment?
Kaylee, anything out there in internet land?
Nope.
If that's the case, yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm just here as a concerned citizen, taxpayer.
Okay, sir, if you would please just stand up and say your name, please.
Excuse me. Yeah, my name is Raleigh, and I live in Tannersville. And I've been traveling the country, and I'm seeing some things that are really, people need to hear about. And I don't know what you guys can do about it, but government starts either at the top down or the bottom up. I guess this is the bottom. That what I'd like to talk about. And I've got a question, I guess if anybody can answer it. Can anybody tell me what a sustainability goal is? There's 17 sustainability goals globally that we are under right now. Has anybody ever heard of sustainability?
Yeah, I have.
You know where it came from?
Well, my daughter-in-law teaches me about it because she's a sustainability expert
Okay.
for a large engineering firm, in fact, the largest engineering firm. in the world.
Exactly, it's global. So it involves all of us, and we are all victims, and that's why I'm here. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, what nationality you are, even what country you live in. And it goes back to 1992. You may want to write it down. Agenda 21. And Agenda 21 is extrapolated out to something called Agenda 2030. And I've been talking with a lot of older people because they don't know the term smart cities. Has anybody here ever heard of the term smart city? What it is?
Smart city, did you say?
What
Smart
is
city.
it? You can tell me anything at all.
I'm not here to be quizzed. You know,
Okay.
You,
Well,
you,
just basically-
you have the floor and you can say whatever you like.
All right. So just basically, a smart city is a city that's a global city. And what it is you're going to be living in an area where you're not going to be able to drive because it's all tied in with the environment, and it's all tied in with the Green New Deal, and it's all coming down top down. But if we don't know anything about it, my proposal is to just have an open meeting to discuss what it is so that the people know what we're dealing with, period. And I guess I'll leave with one last thing. So in terms of, you hear smart growth, smart cities, sustainable development goals, you may want to look up sustainable development goals. There's 17 of them. Everybody should know what they are. I also asked people about the central bank digital currency. They don't know about that. It's been around for years, but yet we're about to lose our Federal Reserve notes and our money's about to become useless if they do that. And people need to know this stuff. We need to be able to talk about it. And I guess the last point is probably the most important one. Has anybody ever heard of the Deagle report? DEAGEL. I was just out with a group of doctors in Iowa last month, 2 months ago. And the Deagle report came out in 2017. And what the Deagle report is, so it's global populations of countries on the earth. In the Deagle report in 2017, population of the United States was approximately between 327 and 340 million people. But the Deagle report 2025 is in the United States, from 327 million to under 100 million, and I'll leave it at that. But again, I was with the doctors, and I can't talk about a lot of what I know. I'm just throwing some light stuff out, but it's got to start at the local level. And I know there's people like me going to town meetings, try to get it out around the country. And that's all. It's just an information here, but I'd like if you guys could do something to do either some research or have somebody research and maybe have an open public meeting about it, because they don't want this stuff out there. We're not supposed to know this stuff. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we are. At